Hey everybody, this is the summer program. This is day 9, video 3 of 3 on the topic of public goods, common access resources, and other types of market failures. In this video, we're going to be talking about merit goods. And merit goods suffer from 3 types of market failures. Now before I go any further, let's recap what a market failure is again. A market failure is a situation that if the government does not intervene in a market, the market will fail to achieve max social surplus. Now certainly some market failures are very small and we might not want government to intervene in those cases. But the bigger the market failure, the greater possibility there is for the government to intervene and improve market outcomes. Now, again, in this video I'm focused on merit goods, and 2 classic examples of merit goods in the field of development economics are education and healthcare. And in this particular video I'm going to be focused on education, but you can also be thinking about healthcare as I go through this. And like I said before, these 2 merit goods suffer from 3 types of market failures. And what are they? Number 1, positive externalities. Okay, they have externalities associated, and these are positive externalities. Number 2, behavioral issues. There's a difference between the perceived private benefit and the actual private benefit. This is a willingness to pay issue. And then finally, there are equity issues. This is an ability to pay issue, okay? So we have 3 types of market failures at play here. Let's go and take a look at this diagram here, because I think the diagram is going to help bring some clarity to it. So I'll go through each one of these market failures as I talk about each of these lines. So the first one, the marginal social benefit, the marginal total benefit. We're going to think of that line being furthest out here, okay? This is the true, actual, total benefit with no ability to pay issues at all, okay? So this is where we really want to be, okay? This is the reality of education. Now, here's the first one. The first market failure is the positive externality. The marginal social benefit, you can see, is greater than the marginal private benefit. So this vertical distance, again, is the positive externality. This is the spillover benefit to third parties, okay? So that vertical distance is the spillover benefit to third parties. So that's the positive externality, the disconnect between those 2 lines. Now, the next disconnect is between the marginal private benefit actual and the marginal private benefit perceived. Now, the specific behavioral issue at play here is that people hyperbolically discount the future. Let me go through what we should do with the future. We should discount it, okay? What I'm trying to say is if you're offered $1,000, say, a year from now, or $1,000 today, it's best to say $1,000 today. $1,000 today is worth more than $1,000 a year from now. So we should discount future gains. So if somebody offers you $1,000 in the future and they say, how much are you willing to give up to get it today, that $1,000 in the future? You might say $950, something like that, whatever. That's, that is reasonable to do. That's reasonable discounting of future gains, okay? However, what we should not do is hyperbolically discount the future. We shouldn't be asked, hey, I'll give you $1,000 a year from now, how much would you pay? And we say, oh, $10. That would be hyperbolically discounting the future. However, that's what we tend to do. We do it with education, we do it with healthcare, we do it with our own personal health. We do it in many, many ways in life, okay? Here's what I'm saying is, certainly we realize that education is going to provide future benefits, but those future benefits of that education, we hyperbolically discount them, so we don't take on as much education as we probably should. Now, this is not true for every individual. So think on the average. Certainly some people might even take on more education than they should, but on average, most people do less education than what would be best for them. And the reason they're doing it, or one reason they're doing less, is because of this hyperbolic discounting of future benefits, okay? They're discounting those future benefits too much. However, that is not, of course, the only reason. Another reason they don't do as much education as they probably should is because of ability to pay issues. And that's the disconnect between these 2 lines. So let's make sure that we're clear on this. The disconnect here that's being illustrated is the positive externality. The disconnect here is that hyper discounting of future benefits, but not really understanding that that future benefit is actually going to be way more beneficial than you think it's going to be. You are going to hyperbolically discount it. Yes, you should discount it, but not in a hyperbolic way. That's this disconnect. And then also, again, we're talking about the average person out there. There's an ability to pay disconnect too. The demand curve is supposed to truly represent willingness and ability to pay. That's what it's based on, willingness and ability to pay. That ability to pay is an equity issue that does have a market failure associated with it. Now, to really bring this home, okay, so this is the actual demand curve. Once ability to pay is taken into account, willingness to pay is taken into account, that's where it is. Certainly the demand curve should be here, right, where the marginal private benefit actual is. And of course there's a disconnect between the marginal private benefit and the marginal social benefit, again, the positive externality. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a supply curve. Now when I add in this supply curve, I want you to understand, I'm just going to assume no externalities at all on the production side of education. And that's fine. I think all we want to do is get the concept here. So let me draw this in. I'm going to say supply equals marginal private cost equals marginal social cost. Again, no externalities on the supply side. We're going to say all the market failures are on the demand side. So what is going to be the result of this? Well, if we leave the market alone, we are not going to be allocatively efficient, right? Put that dot right there. I'm going to draw this down. That's how much education we're going to get produced, okay? We're going to allocate a certain amount of resources to be able to produce this amount of education. That's going to be the market outcome. That is where the demand and supply curve are actually intersecting. But where do we want to be? We want to be where the S curves are intersecting, the marginal social cost and marginal social benefit. That's our optimal result. Remember, this is QFM for free market. I'm going to bring this down. Here is my Q opt. That's where we want to be. That's where we are allocatively efficient. We want to be here. That's where we have allocated the correct amount of resources to the production of the good. If we leave the market alone, again, we're going to be here. Let's take a look at the deadweight loss. I'm going to draw this straight up like this. There's the base of it. This triangle that I'm outlining right there, I'll do it one more time. This triangle that I am outlining, that is going to be the deadweight loss. Again, this is our marginal social benefit. This is our marginal social cost. The free market, we're only going to produce this. We're not going to produce any of these goods, but all of these goods, for all of those goods, the marginal social benefit exceeds the marginal social cost. We want all of these goods produced if we want to achieve maximum social surplus. Again, this video is focused on merit goods. Merit goods suffer from 3 types of market failures. They're focused on a lot in development economics. Hope that made sense to you, and that's it for the Day 9 videos.